Hello. My name is, well, it's Mr. TNT on YouTube. I'm a game dev, or at least I'd like to think so. Like a month ago, I made a game, and I made a video on it. I said it was pretty bad, because it was. But I'm making a new game, as you can probably guess from this devlog. I'm hoping to make it at least somewhat good this time. I'm having another crack at it. You'll have to forgive the bad setup and the poor audio quality. It's too hot to not have the fan on, so if you hear the fan, sorry, but I will literally die of heat stroke if I don't have the fan on. So, new game. This is the general idea. We have some offshoot ideas, like crafting and fun, with a question mark. I bought this entire whiteboard just for this bit, by the way. It wasn't worth it, but, you know, now that I have it, I'm gonna continue using it. Where am I gonna put this thing? I don't know. I'll figure it out later. In all seriousness, the actual idea. Mystic Selection. You can see we've had a bit of a name change. It was Mystical Selection. At no point was I happy with that name, and then I realized I can just remove 2 letters and suddenly have something that sounds somewhat decent. So I forgot the N at the end. That's embarrassing. Oh well, I'm not doing this take for a 4th time. It's a survival game, right? So think something like Minecraft, Subnautica, Power World, you know, stuff like that. There's crafting, survival, and you gotta fight creatures to survive, you know. But these days, every survival game sort of has like a gimmick, right? You can't really just do a basic survival game anymore. There's plenty of those already. You know, like, you can't really, you have to have a gimmick, right? Every survival game now has a gimmick. You know, Subnautica, it's entirely underwater, or like 90% underwater. Power World is like Pokemon, but it's like good. And then Raft is on a raft. So my gimmick is gonna be magic. I like magic. You probably like magic too. My magic system is gonna be a little bit different though. It's not like the other girls in the club. It's a little bit quirky, right? So, the third idea, and the idea for how the magic system is going to work, is murder. You're gonna kill your way and slaughter your way to being a powerful mage. I'm not joking. So, how it's gonna work is basically you kill creatures and monsters in the world to unlock new spells. There's gonna be more depth to how the magic system works. It's not just gonna be murder, but you know, I'll save that for another day. I'll give you guys something to look forward to. It's gonna be a modular building system. It's not really gonna be like Power World or Stranded Deep, if anyone has played that. Even Raft to a certain extent. Well, not even to a certain extent, this is how it works. But like, you can't like build like walls and floors. Like, it's gonna be like modular. Like, you're gonna have rooms that you can build and structures that you can build, but you can't put like floors down or walls down. It's gonna be like an entire room or entire structure. Obviously, that gives the player less freedom to do what they want, but trust me, I do have a reason for making it a modular building system. Again, I'll get into it later. I don't know if I've spelled that right, but there'll be dungeons with bosses in them. The bosses will have even better spells, and then, you know, with those spells, you unlock more areas. Some areas of the map will be restricted until you get specific spells, or certain spells, I should say. And you obviously get those from fighting the bosses, and you won't be able to progress until you get those spells. And then, you know, in those areas, you'll be able to not only unlock more spells, but you'll get more resources, and, you know, those resources will allow you to build better structures for your base. That is the general, that's the idea that I've got in my head, right? But to be honest with you, even with all that, I wasn't going to make this game, and that's for like really just one reason. Well, actually, it's for two reasons, right? So the first reason is I didn't trust myself to make a good game yet, and I said to myself, if I'm going to make this game, I want it to be good, because I do think it's a good idea, right? Second reason is I wanted an actual like style and theme for this game. I didn't want to do what I had to do in my previous project, which was just mishmashing assets. If you look at it, you can, like, some of them, like, you know, I could get away with putting them together, but you can especially tell with the player character next to like some of the enemy characters, they did not belong together. But you know, that all changed, right? Because one day I was looking at the free monthly assets that Unreal does. I did a whole YouTube short about that, you should watch it. And I saw, you know, basically the exact thing that I was looking for. It was actually like really, really crazy, right? Like, not only was it temporarily free, but it was exactly what I was looking for, and I actually got a lot out of it. Now, that being said, obviously I can't just get away with just these assets, right? Like, there's a lot in this bundle, but it's not enough for, you know, all of the creatures and enemy varieties that I want. So obviously I will have to buy some of the other bundles, right? And I have. And to be completely honest with you, I was going to do it slowly, right? Over the course of a couple weeks, whenever I decided whenever I was up to implementing a new feature, and I decided I needed those assets to implement them, I was going to buy them. However, then Christmas came, and there was a sale going on, and I couldn't really help myself. Yeah, you know what? I bet if we just get rid of this, I think it'll be fine. These question marks aren't a joke, by the way. Legitimately, I don't know how much I spent. I could go check, but I'm not going to. I don't want to know. I don't think I do. So, that's how this project all got started, right? I had the idea, I found the assets, and I decided to make it. This was not what the plan was like a month or two ago. It's all just sort of happened. You know, getting started with a new project, you know, it's hard to know where to start sometimes. You know, as you continue a project, you kind of get a feel for what you need to do next, what needs work, you know, and eventually you'll be able to form like a timeline of what you need to do up until you release it. But getting started, you know, it's sort of obvious. You got to start with the player character. That's what I did, and it was very easy. Unreal does it for you. Like, I could go through the hassle of doing it from scratch, but like, why would I when the Unreal template works perfectly fine? Like, literally all I did was adjust the camera placement so that I had like an over-the-shoulder look, right? So, you know, that was very easy. And then I decided, you know, something I learned while making my last project was how I did that was, first when testing, I only used the default Unreal character. And the reason I did that was, I should make sure all the animations work, and I should get the idea, you know, for how everything's gonna look and function before I go changing the mesh and making the game pretty, right? My basic thought process was get it functional and then get it looking pretty. I'm going to do it a bit differently this time, and the reason I'm doing that is because in my last game, I did that, and then when it got to the point of making the game pretty, it was actually a bit difficult, right? Because the way Unreal works, the meshes have this skeleton, right? And the way animations work is the animation, you know, uses the bone, basically tells the bones in this skeleton where to move and how to move, right? The problem with that is different meshes have different skeletons, right? So, for example, like a bigger mesh will have a bigger skeleton with more points and to tell them where to move, right? Now, this is a problem because the animations that I was using for the default Unreal mesh do not work for the nice and pretty meshes that I was going to use for my game. There is a solution to this. I made a whole YouTube short about it. Basically what you can do is in Unreal you can retarget animations, right? It's called a retargeter, right? What it does is basically when you've got it all set up, you'll be able to tell this animation how to animate this skeleton, right? So you basically retarget, say this isn't how a real skeleton will be set up, but say this arm is all one bone, right? But this bigger skeleton has two bones in its arm. What you can do with the retargeter is basically say that this is all, it's all the right arm. So when it goes to animate the right arm, it knows to animate all of those bones. That's a bad explanation, but that's basically how it works. Even still, sometimes animations just aren't gonna work, right? Like, it might be a couple of different things. Like, say, when you tell it to animate this arm, sometimes it gets confused and the arm ends up like the hand ends up facing backwards. Now I could sort of get away with, like, if you look really hard in my last game, you can see I tried to get away with some messed up animations, right? Like this the skeleton, not these skeletons, it's a different skeleton, the skeleton archer enemy. Its run animation is a little bit scuffed, but it works, right? Because what I did, right, is it was from a top-down angle, so it was sort of hard to see the scuffed animations because you were looking at it from up above. You couldn't really get a proper look at it anyway. But other animations, I couldn't really get away with the scuffed look, and I had to find new animations. Now, luckily, these meshes had custom animations for me to use, and even with some of the animations that were working, I decided to replace them anyway because the ones made for the actual mesh looked better, and I also paid for them, so why not? But having said that, right, the plan for this game is to just from the start use the nice looking meshes and use the animations that were specifically made for them. And there's no real reason not to, right? Like, that way I know that it's working from the beginning and I don't have to spend extra time like changing all the meshes to the correct ones and changing all and retargeting all the animations for the second time. So yeah, all that was to say that I bought the player character mesh from the same guy at Enhanced Studio. I'll put a link to the actual fab asset page in the description. I think that's fair. You know, I'm using a lot of their assets and I am paying for them, but you know, I think I should, you know, link them anyway. Why not, right? You know, that was relatively easy getting the player character set up. Really, like, the hard, not even a hard part, like, you know, the animations came with the mesh, so really I just went into the default animation blueprint and changed some things around. But after that was done, I decided to start work on the inventory. The original way I was going to make the inventory system was with data tables, right? I don't mind using data tables, but it is like a little, it's a little it's just a lot of tomfoolery, isn't it? Like, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I found this new method of doing it, and the reason, if you look on the Unreal asset store, or I should say Fab store now, There are a lot of inventories systems that people have made that you can just download and use. I'm not doing that. I do actually have one in my assets that I could use, and I did look at it. However, the reason I'm not going to, right? Basically, if I try to use the inventory systems that someone else made, I couldn't really understand how it worked, and if I wanted to mess with it, it might break. So that's why I want to make mine from the ground up. So that way, I understand how it all works, and if I mess with it, I know how to fix it. It's not too big of a deal, and then I can customize it more because I'm making it from the ground up. So I can make it work how I want it to work. Also, the one I have, the one that I have saved in my assets, this isn't a jab at the guy who made it, but it looks a little bit too much like God of War. The basic gist of that is I made an inventory system, didn't like it, and I made it again. So I made the inventory UI, right? It all works perfectly fine. There's no issues. I can drag and drop the item wherever I want. That I did have an issue for a little bit, but I fixed it. But there is a minor issue, not with the functionality, but with the UI. It looks a bit shit, and I don't want it to look bad. I want it to look good. I said earlier, I want it to look good, and it'd be a real shame if I had all these pretty assets in game, but then the UI looked bad, right? I don't really know what to do about the UI. I tried having a look on the asset store, couldn't really find anything, and I am not skilled in that department to make it myself. I might commission someone. I don't know. I'll have to have a think about it. I did change it. It looked a bit better. I basically just changed the colors from poop brown. I also, I played around a bit with how much you can actually have in your inventory. I think I made it something like I made the inventory 50 slots, and then I made it if you not, I shouldn't say slots, you guys don't know what I'm talking about, like spaces, right? Like you have 50 spots in your inventory to hold items, and then each stack, if an item is stackable, you can stack up to 50 items. So you can have a fair bit in your inventory, and then your hotbar is an additional 5 spaces. I don't know if that's too much. I don't know. I might make it less. But honestly, the only reason it's 50 is because I think it looks good with the UI. That's the only reason. That's probably gonna cover it for this devlog. I know I didn't. I know it was a lot of me just gushing about my ideas, and writing them on a whiteboard, which I don't really know if that's gonna. I'll probably keep the whiteboard. It'd be a bit of a waste just throw it out now at this point, but I don't know if it's gonna make me look good or look stupid. It's my this is my second video ever. Thought I'd try something new with the whiteboard. I haven't seen a lot of other people use a whiteboard before in their videos. I'm going on about the whiteboard. This video, it's probably been a bit too much of me rambling. I'm sure people will let me know in the comments by saying bro yaps too much. Well, yeah, and I'm sorry that we didn't get into a whole lot of the actual game and the process of making it. I have actually made more progress than what I've shown you guys, but I'm gonna save that for the next devlog. So other than that, I have one more thing to leave you with. I am going to be making a side project. It's going to be on the side while I'm making this game. So hold on. Let me use the whiteboard one final time. So Mystic Selection is going to be my main project, right? This is the main project. This is the idea. This is what I'm going to be covering on the channel for a while. But over here, I'm going to be working on a little something. I've got multiple ideas, and they all want to be let out. Right? They're all making a ruckus in my head, and I have to get them out. So I'm going to be working on a little side project, right? It's going to be a relatively smaller game, but I think it's a cool idea, right? The thing is I'm not going to be making any devlogs on this game, right? There's going to be nothing, right? I'm going to be making devlogs on this. I'm going to be covering this a lot as I progress through it. This one, not so much. In fact, this game will be released the day it's announced, right? You guys will not know when it's coming out until the day it comes out. I will let you guys know when it comes out on the day, but other than that, you get nothing. You don't know what the game's going to be about, you'll be getting nothing, right? Until that day. So if you want to, if you're keen to find out what this is, hit the subscribe button and hit that notification button, so that, you know, trust me, you'll know. Even if you don't watch any of my other videos, you'll know what video. I'll make it very obvious which video is announcing this one. It could be, you know, it could come out this year or in 5 years. I don't know. It's a side project. I'll work on it basically whenever I don't feel like working on this. But yeah. Again, you know, if you wanna find out what this is, ooh, mysterious question marks. Yeah, that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Have a good day.